Boridar or Pronoundar, every pony. This is BronyDan. It's not original, but hey, you try coming on originality these days. Well, with rumours going around that apparently we're going to be getting a new Carry On movie next year, a lot of people are actually getting excited about it. I mean, a revival of one of Britain's most beloved film series? This is fantastic! It'll introduce the younger generation to that old style of comedy. What could go wrong? But then people then take a step back and then remember that this stunt was actually pulled 24 years ago with Carry On Columbus. Now, many fans don't like to list this as an actual Carry On movie, and for good reason. This came out 14 years after the embarrassing disaster that was Carry On Emmanuel, and it was at a time when many of the major Carry On stars had all passed away. But it has Peter Rogers and Gerald Thomas's names attached to it, so it does count as being part of the Carry On series, and is often cited as being the worst British film ever. Jesus! Well, let's see why this blast to the past failed to win over a 90s audience with Carry On Columbus. We begin in Turkey, 1492, where we meet the Sultan, played by... Next! And here we have the first problem. Look, I love Rick Mayall, but this was clearly a role meant for Kenneth Williams, probably more in line with his performance as the Qazi of Calabar from Carry On Up the Khyber. And yes, I know Kenneth couldn't do it because he was dead, but I always feel that one of the most important elements to performing in a Carry On movie is to at least have an air of subtlety when delivering the more suggestive dialogue. Subtlety isn't a word I think Rick ever learnt.
Oh, yeah. It's a bit creamy.
Anyway, the Sultan hears of Christopher Columbus's plans of sailing to the Far East, meaning that all trade would cease in Turkey if he succeeds. So he sends his blondest and bustiest girl Fatima to sabotage the route.
And should this Columbus have a route?
Be assured, I shall get my hands on it.
We cut to Lisbon, and to be fair, we do have at least one familiar face from the classic Carry On days. Jim Dale as Columbus as he plans his chart for China. Fortunately, he's given help from Bernard Cribbins with a secret document.
Sir, is an ancient Hebrew manuscript, the logbook of Moshe the Navigator. Moshe the Navigator? The first man to sail around the world in the year 207 BC.
The BC doesn't actually mean before Christ, it just means that he was a bloody...
I have an audience with Queen Isabella of Spain. We'll show her the documents, travel tomorrow. Spain? I can't carry this to Spain. Why not? Well, the Spanish Inquisition, I'll be arrested. No.
So they arrive in Spain under the eye of the Spanish Inquisition, who are reverse KKKs in this, and I swear one of them is Michael Palin.
And how is this to be done?
By interrogation under torture.
Our chief weapon is surprise. Surprise and fear. Fear and surprise. Our two weapons are fear and surprise. And ruthless efficiency. Our three weapons are fear and surprise and ruthless efficiency and an almost fanatical devotion to the Pope. Our four. No.
And so they visit the King and Queen of Spain, played by June Whitfield and Leslie Phillips? But he hasn't been in a Carry On movie since 1960. Well, they at first reject his offers, but then immediately decide, yes, we will fund your journey.
Father Torquemada confirms this document is the record of an early voyage.
Yeah, you see the guy standing behind them, wearing all black and seen as the head of the Spanish Inquisition, who looks like he has some hatred towards Columbus? Never appears again in the movie. God, I can see which tale of Columbus the Magic Voyage took inspiration from. So Columbus and his brother and Bernard Cribbins are put in charge of the Santa Maria with a crew of unfunny comic strip rejects and Victor Meldrew as his accountant.
I don't believe it!
Now, if it seems as if I'm just skimming through this movie, then there is a valid reason for that. It's failing to be funny. We are now at the 25-minute mark and nothing of value or substance has happened. I've skipped over moments with Fatima and Alexei's Sale because, again, they're not funny and don't further the plot. Plus, to spare the horrendous acting of Sarah Crowe.
As you command, Mighty One.
Another reason why this movie isn't funny is because of the casting. I've already mentioned Rick Mayall and Alexei Sale, but we've also got Nigel Planner, Peter Richardson, Keith Allen and Julian Clary, all of whom were pioneers of alternative comedy. So to have them mesh within a Carry-On movie just doesn't work. The comedic timing is different, which in alternative comedy is funny. But in a Carry-On, it slows everything down. So by the time you've got to the punchline, you just don't care. It also doesn't help that the writing is so bad that they feel the need to steal jokes from other Carry-On movies.
My husband, the Count, has got the canaries.
That is nowhere near as funny. Joan Sims, show her how it's done.
My brother, the Count, wishes to meet him.
But some good jokes do manage to sneak through it. In fact, I'll just play you right here the only 3 jokes that made me chuckle in this 80-minute film.
I can't eat this.
And why not?
There's no mustard on it.
And this is Marco, the serial killer.
A serial killer?
Beats his victims to death with a sack of Rice Krispies.
What are you looking at?
Sharks. Man-eating sharks. This sea's full of them. Hey, you mind you don't fall in?
My goodness. You don't think they'd eat me whole?
No, I'm told they spit that out.
So after taking aboard some new members of his crew, as well as Julian Clary, by the way, guess who he's trying to be?
Oh, hello.
Oh, hello.
Columbus begins handing out jobs, including one to Alexei Sale and Sarah Crowe, and so finally the Santa Maria sets off on its voyage. So, just to clarify, we have the US voice of Harry Potter, Donna Noble's grandfather, the Sultan from the Last Crusade, horrible acting, and 2 gays getting pissed down below. Yeah, this trip is doomed. However, they sail into uncharted waters and come across a ghost ship. So they sneak aboard and find a meal already prepared.
Could do with something hot inside me.
Did I mention I'm gay? But they get caught for piracy as the ship belongs to the Countess Esmeralda, played by Maureen Lipman. So she takes command of Columbus's ship in order to sail back to Spain, as her daughter is to be married to John Pertwee. I skipped that scene so as not to besmirch John's name. But Fatima tries again to sabotage Columbus's voyage, only to end up falling in love with him. Oh, how delightful. Makes you totally forget that she had a purpose in this movie other than being eye candy.
This beard and moustache is false.
Yes, I always thought it was.
I am the one who came in the night.
My erotic dream.
Yes. I only pretend to be a man. I really am a woman.
Perhaps you could fetch me pudding.
Okay, I know you could argue that the Carry-On films were sexist, but they were never this direct about it. But when Lipman realizes that they are not going back to Spain, she convinces the crew to go on a mutiny and hang Columbus. Hey, if it ends the movie quicker, string him up, I say! But alas, we do not have that luxury as the ship finds land and Columbus and his men go over to find
Gold. Mountains of it.
They meet with the natives and...
Hi, Chief. Hey, how about what do you hear? What do you say? All right.
Yes, folks, we are doing this. We could have just left it to our own understanding that Columbus discovered America, but we have to get actual Americans to play them. Because, you know, having Americans in a Carry-On movie worked so well the last time. Also, is one of them Charles Fleischer?
Please. I don't know who they are, but you better tell them that we don't want no goddamn immigrants.
And apparently he's a Trump supporter. So after the negotiations for gold don't work, the natives promise to take them to the gold mines. But not before we get a strip scene.
Oh my God.
Why did this need to exist? Because this movie has just remembered it's a carry-on movie and is trying to make up for the seemingly lack of female flesh it has shown throughout the entire thing. I swear to God these movies were funny!
Right, lads, now stick together and follow me.
Oh no, they're in the cave of Caer Banog! They're about to run into the black beast of...
It's the legendary black beast of... Oh!
Do you know the way to Disneyland?
I'm being interfered with. What's the matter? Come here, look up, back still. It's only a spider.
Okay, what the hell kind of spider buzzes like a bee? Was it raised by him or something? Wait, what, where, how? I don't, it's what, Consistency movie! A little consistency, please! So, what was the whole point of that scene? None whatsoever. Yeah, they're back at the village and Columbus makes the trade with the chief. Are you trying to piss us off, movie? Are you seriously making us hate every single torturous minute we wasted on you? Because I can assure you, you are doing a very good job at that. I am now praying that every single copy of this movie is found and burnt for your crimes against comedy.
Oh, wait, we want wine like your annoying lady friend gave us, all right? We want guns, we want gunpowder.
No, you don't want guns. You are a peaceful people.
Right, and then we met you. We want wine and guns and gunpowder. All right, it's a deal.
We want to be historically and accurately prepared for when you come back and slaughter us all. So they get the gold and please tell me it's over.
Wait a minute, there's something wrong.
What?
No. There isn't anything wrong with it. End.
Doesn't feel heavy enough.
What's that?
Oh, it's still going. Yep, gold's fake. So at least now we can turn this into a black comedy and Columbus gets killed for this.
Was this gold taken from the natives of the Indies?
Yes, Father.
And were these Indians baptized?
No, they are heathens.
Then under your majesty's laws, this gold, the property of heathen heretics, is confiscated by the Inquisition.
Did you get rid of it? It sank like a sack of stones.
There's one thing that worries me. Supposing somebody asked the Inquisition what happened to it.
But nobody questions the Inquisition. They're the ones who ask the questions.
So that was it. That was the only reason we included the Spanish Inquisition in this movie. Just for that payoff. Not worth it.
Carry on, Columbus.
Carry on to become the worst example of British comedy. Oh my God, what a train wreck! I have no idea what to call this movie, but I can safely say this is not Carry On. The plot's weak as water, the jokes are non-existent, and the characters and acting are all bland and forgettable. Jim Dale, bless him, does try his hardest, but he alone can't save this, and everyone else just doesn't seem interested in being here. In fact, everybody involved in this went on to say that appearing in this was the worst mistake they ever made in their careers. So I do apologize to everyone here, because even if the original Carry On team were to have done this, it would still be considered the worst British comedy film ever. And after watching this movie, I completely agree with that statement. And if the rumors are that another Carry On movie is coming out is actually true, then let me just say this. Leave well enough alone. Well, this is BronyDan saying, Nostar. God, where's Carry On Cleo?